You are not starting from scratch, even when you feel like you're starting over, right? No matter what reason that you are pivoting. Divorce, went back and got a job, elder care, kid issues, health problems, industry changes, burnout, etc. Like the list is never ending, right? But no matter what the reason is that you decided, right, to pivot, I just want to be the voice of reason for you. You are not starting from scratch, even when it feels like you are starting over. Okay. In this episode, what I want to do is re energize you, refocus you, help you recreate some momentum. Okay. So let's just start off with the hard, honest truth. Yes, it may feel fill in the blank, disappointing, frustrating, hurt, angry, whatever it is that you may feel as you are starting again, right? There's always this feeling of having to start over from scratch, right? When you are doing some kind of pivoting in your business, and especially if you're doing a big pivot in your business, right? And I want to encourage you to let yourself feel all of those things, right? No matter what may have caused it, whether this is a willing pivot, or whether that pivot is dragging you because you didn't want to pivot in the first place. Okay. It's okay for you to feel those things. But when we get done feeling those things, because we don't want to stay in that place, right? We also don't want to be avoidant of our feelings. We just want to be honest. This sucks. I don't like it. Whatever it is that you may feel. Okay. And then we're going to accept that there is still a calling on your life. There is still more for you to do. And we're going to accept that that calling is going to keep calling you, and you can't quit if you wanted to. Okay. I see a lot of entrepreneurs who get tired, they get frustrated, and they have these moments where they want to quit, which is completely valid. But then entrepreneurship keeps knocking, either ideas or problems or whatever their motivation. Okay. So if the calling is going to keep calling you, it basically means that you're going to want to build something new or something next, even if in this moment you're like, get somebody else to do it. I'm tired. Okay, that's fair. But there is going to come a time for most people, right, where they're like, all right, I'm ready for the new thing. And so you really have two options. Option one, just decide I'm not. I'm not building nothing else. I'm done, right? I'm officially done with entrepreneurship. I'm officially done with business. My focus is now going to be on blank, right? So, like here, one example is that I have a client who's been running her business, I don't know, probably close to 10 years. She's had a normal, regular job all of that time. She recently retired, right? And she was going to go full throttle with her business, right? But as she kind of sat and thought about what she wanted, what she realized is that that's not actually what she desired. Right? She did not desire to go full throttle with her business. She just wanted to be at home with her husband, okay, curled up. I don't know what she wanted to do. I ain't gonna be in her business, okay. But in short, she realized that the business was not a priority. So there is place for that if you give yourself permission, right, to choose. That's option one. Option two is where you decide, yes, you know what, I'm in. There's still things that I want to build. There's still things that I want to do. Okay. And you start dealing with the feelings of starting. Okay. It is 100% normal, right? To feel, emphasis on feel, like you're starting from scratch, right? But really, you're not starting from scratch. And I want you to hear this. Yes, you may or may not be starting over depending on how big of a pivot, right, that you are making. And I realized that starting over is still not super exciting. Okay. Which is why the very first shift that we need to make is to increase our level of excitement about pivoting, about what we're building next, even when, there are a lot of things that are unclear. We need that excitement because that passion will drive us in this season that's a little bit more uphill, right? When you're building for the first time, and, again, you can be a seasoned entrepreneur and still be building for the first time because you're building something new. And depending on what it is, you may not be taking your audience. You may not be taking your offers. You may not be taking, right? Like there are things that you can take, but there'll be lots of things that you probably will not. Okay. So our first job is to shift our current energy to be more excited about what we're building and the process of building. I find this is a common thing that I'm seeing more and more is that my seasoned entrepreneurs know what to do when they're pivoting. Okay. They have run successful businesses, right? So they understand what goes into building a business. But the moment they start thinking about all the steps that go into building the new thing, exhaustion, tired, fear, frustration, all of the different feelings. Okay. So this is how we keep ourselves from turning a, 3-month transition into a 3-year transition on accident. Okay. So the first thing that you want to be able to realize is that starting from scratch would mean that you have nothing to build with. You're coming empty-handed. You're coming with nothing, right? But the reality is that you have all kinds of things. You have your business expertise, the fact that you know how to market and sell and, create offers. You have your expertise in whatever your craft is, right? Let's say that you're in publishing, right? So not only do you have your business expertise, you also have your publishing expertise. Okay. So you have the expertise of your craft. You have your credibility. You have the skills that you've learned. Oh, I know how to, manage a team a little bit better than I did, 2, 3 years ago. Right. You have people, whether it be your audience, your team, whatever. The point is that there are things that you are bringing to the table, which would mean you are not starting from scratch, my friend. Okay. You have to start by seeing these things as assets, right? Because what I find is that a lot of times people have things that are truly assets, right? That they can build on top of that will help them get to where they want to be, but they're undervaluing those things because they're not the things that you actually wish you had. We'd love to have, 1,000 people of our ideal client for whatever the new thing is. We'd love to have our audience already built. But because we don't have the audience already built yet, the things that I have can't be that important or they're not really going to be. It's like, step one to shifting your energy, getting more excited about the pivot instead of exhausted, okay, is you starting to see the skills, the expertise, the credibility, et cetera, as assets and that you're not starting from scratch. If you don't count them as assets, the journey will feel heavy. So write them down. Okay, what are all the credibility you have? What are all the skills you picked up? What are all the expertise you have in your craft? What are all the expertise you have in your business? Write it down, right? And then tell yourself why each of these is valuable. That's the key, is that not only do I know kind of these things that I'm bringing to the table, right, which helps me not focus so much on the negative of what I don't have, but I also know the value of these things, okay? So that's step one. That is the number one thing that's going to begin to shift your energy. Now, it's not going to take you to a 10, right, to be clear, right? But it will shift your energy. So let's just say we started to value some of the things that we've gained over the years, and it started to make us feel a little bit better, a little bit more excited, right? We realize that we really are not starting from scratch. And let's just say we're about a 5, okay? The next thing that I want you to be able to do in order to get yourself to a number 10, excitement, right? It doesn't mean that all the other feelings will go away. There still might be some fear. There might be some grief. There still might be a little bit of tiredness, right? But you'll also have a renewed sense of purpose, right? Which is necessary as you're building the new thing. It really makes building the new thing far more fun, okay? So the second thing that I want you to be able to do is to design what the new thing looks like, okay? It's kind of like seeing the blueprints for a house you're building. When you can see the blueprint, something jumps in you. It's like, ooh, it's coming together. It's coming together. It's something about being able to visually see what you are building, bring, bring some like empowerment, some excitement, some joy, right? It could be, a car that you're having painted. I remember when I had my truck painted and the guy who runs the shop would send me pictures of different parts of the stage, different stages of the process. And I was like, okay, I don't know nothing about painting no car, but yeah, I love this. I love this for me. Okay. It just makes you be able to see some things and get excited about it. One of my favorites is when I have a package coming from Amazon And it says, oh, your package is 4 stops away. And I'm like, yeah, right. Like, it's just something about being able to visually see what you're building that then brings in a level of clarity and a level of excitement that aids you, right? It really, really aids you. This is the design process that we walk through in the pivot school, where we are looking at every aspect of your business and putting together a blueprint that you can operate from. Having the blueprint, right? Being able to spend some time actually designing a thing helps ensure you build the right thing. It helps ensures that you build it the right way, right? That it aligns with your current goals and vision, the things that are most important to you on the second season, second half of life. If you choose option two, i.e., you know what, the calling is going to keep calling me, I just want to keep reminding you there's more to your life. Give yourself permission, right, to start building the new thing. Okay. It doesn't even have to be physically building the new thing, right? That's the construction part. That's the walls and the electric and the water and stuff that we talked about before. Sometimes that can feel exhausting, right? I'm talking about a different kind of labor, the architecture. That's the part that is exhilarating, right? You can move at your own pace, fast or slow, whatever your goals are, right? But I just wanted to remind you that you are still needed, right? You are still needed. I'm just going to keep saying it, even though it may feel heavy because it feels like you're starting from scratch. You are not. Even if you're starting over, you are not starting. You have all of these assets that, if you chose to see them as assets, would make the journey much, much funner. Okay. You already know if you need help with designing your next thing, check out Pivot School.